may not be there tonight. So there certainly is a somber atmosphere around here, as well as the one of festive activity.
And it's going to be festive and healing, because those same people who haven't seen each other in so long, it's because one family evacuated to Maryland, another family evacuated to Texas. Now those families will be sitting next to each other again, sharing stories. And know this, a lot of the people who were evacuated, who took up shelter in the Superdome, they will be part of the crowd in the Superdome again, watching the game. Still ahead here on Monday night, still ahead here on NFL Primetime. Breaking news, Shaun Alexander, the rushing leader last year, out indefinitely. We'll find out why. Fans here in New Orleans up for this game like they probably have never been up for any game, including the 5 years that they went to the postseason. NFL Primetime coming right back.
Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's no debate. Miller Lite, always a good call. And in part by NikeGridiron.com. Football is everything. And Verizon Wireless.
Breaking news out of Seattle, Shaun Alexander, the NFL's rushing leader last year, out indefinitely with a broken foot. Team has said that Alexander broke his foot in the game yesterday. He will be out indefinitely, set a record last year for most rushing touchdowns in a season. You know, if you think about the Seahawks last year, including the playoffs, they scored 64 touchdowns. Alexander by himself scored 30. What does this mean for this team right now?
Stu, this is a devastating loss. You're talking about the National Football League's most valuable player being out. That means Moreeeee Morris, the backup running back, has to wear the hat for the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, does that Deion Branch acquisition look really big right now? And oh, by the way, Matt Hasselbeck, the quarterback, is playing at a very high level.
Matt Hasselbeck is great, but he's going to even have to get better. He's going to have to start throwing that football more. The running game won't be the same with Morris in there, but I like Max Strong. They give him that little up the middle there. He's pretty good.
Shaun Alexander last year set a record for most touchdowns ever in the NFL in a 5-year period, and it's going to be tough without him, because this is what Seattle has to do over the next 5 weeks. Yeah, they got a bye in week 5, but they got the 3-0 hard-hitting, hard-knocking Chicago Bears next week. Then they got the Rams, a tough Vikings team, and the Chiefs, who will play anybody tough despite their record. Other NFL news, Bucs quarterback Chris Sims absorbed several punishing hits from the Panthers throughout the Bucs loss yesterday. Following the game, he had to have his spleen removed. This morning, head coach John Gruden updated his condition.
He's crushed emotionally right now that he's not going to be able to continue to play. And I believe he got hurt late in the football game. That's what we're pointing to on a bootleg situation down around the 9-yard line. Potentially, he is out for the season because of the injury of this magnitude. And to do the right thing, it might not be wise to ask him to come back and play in week 13 or 14.
John Gruden has made rookie Bruce Gradkowski his choice for starter. Gradkowski's 6th-round pick out of Toledo, just 6 career pass attempts. Tim Rattay, the veteran, who started 16 games with the 49ers, going just 4-12 in those starts, is the backup. As for the rest of the game between the Panthers and the Bucs, Steve Smith, making his first appearance of the season, led the league in catches last year. Coach, I thought that you were slow coming back from a hamstring injury.
I really don't understand this, because it's very hard to do what this guy did. He went out there, caught 7 balls for over 100 yards. Now, with him on the field, they become a playoff team once again.
15th career 100-yard receiving games. Jaws, how does Smitty open it up for Keyshawn Johnson?
Well, you see right there, he gets the one-on-one coverage and wins. Keyshawn Johnson gets that because Steve Smith's getting doubled on the other side.
He had 7 catches, 97 yards, 7 seconds to play. Panthers down. John Casey as cool as the other side of the pillow. 4th field goal in the game. First time a kicker ever has 4 field goals, 46 yards or more. Panthers with the comeback win. Coming off of being shut out last Monday night, the world champion Steelers balling with the undefeated Bengals. Joey Porter, Chad Johnson talking. You know, some say it's wasting energy, but yo, diversity, people. Everybody gets up in different ways. Tough game for Ben Roethlisberger. Picked off early in the end zone. All right, guys, now it's time to stop. Roethlisberger is going to be picked off by Madale Williams. That's the first interception of Ben Roethlisberger's red zone career. Yo, Big Ben, about that pick, dude, what happened?
I knew Heath was coming across, and I knew he wasn't there yet, and I saw the linebacker, and he went right behind the linebacker, so I was expecting him to come out the other side, and as he was coming out, I didn't see the guy come the other direction.
Third quarter, Pittsburgh by 3. Jaws, why did Ben struggle in this game?
Well, I don't think he's really sharp right now because of the lack of playing time. Playing the quarterback position is about repetition, being on the field practicing. He's missed an awful lot of practice time, Stu.
That was one pick he threw right there. 18 seconds left. Steelers down 8. Another pick right there. 3 interceptions. Sacked 3 times. Ben Roethlisberger, the youngest quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. 2 games this year, 2 losses. 5 interceptions in those 2 games. His passer rating on Sunday, 30.7, the lowest of his career, and his 3 picks tied a career high. So if your QB struggles and your team is turning the rock over, I don't care if you do have the Lombardi Trophy on your mantle. It's going to be tough. Fourth quarter, Ricardo Coakley fumbles it, one of 5 Steeler turnovers. Coach, why is it important to convert turnover opportunities quickly?
Well, it changes the whole football game. First of all, it changes field position. When you get the ball that deep in the opposition's territory, you got to put something on the board. You saw special teams all week. They play a big part. And you give Carson Palmer a second chance with that football, he throws it as well as anybody in the game today. The Steelers right now, I say one thing about them on offense, Josh, I don't see a lot of guys getting open.
Nor do you see a lot of guys hanging on the ball. Another fumble right there. Coach, from the Department of Redundancy Department, why is it important to convert turnovers quickly?
Because it helps to win football games.
It changes the field position.
Palmer to T.J. Houshmandzadeh, 2 touchdowns in less than a minute by Houshmandzadeh. Only the second Bengal to ever do that, and that's filthy good.
Oh, boy.
Filthy good. Steelers down 28-17. Under a minute left, Roethlisberger picked again. The last 5 games in this series have won by the road team. Yo, Bill Cowher, who's to blame for this particular loss?
And you know what? And I will accept responsibility. That will not happen again. Trust me. That's on me. But it will not happen again.
The Steelers lose their second game in a row. Big ups to the Bengals, 28-20. They're 3-0. Now forget the rest of the AFC. The Steelers 1-2 after this game. They got 2 teams in their division that are undefeated. How concerned are they right now?
They ought to be very concerned. The one thing that I saw with Ben Roethlisberger, 2 of his interceptions came from the backside. In other words, that tells me he was staring down the receiver because the backside was following his eyes, taking him to the football. But the real problem is the blueprint of the Pittsburgh Steelers is to limit Ben Roethlisberger's throws between 20 and 25. Against Jacksonville and Cincinnati, respectively, 32 and 39 throws. He's not ready to handle that, Coach.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. When you throw the ball 39 times, you're going against the whole blueprint of what the Pittsburgh Steelers are all about. And look at the way they ran the football. It wasn't like they didn't run the football effectively. They had a great running game, but they got away from it. And I don't know why this is. They feel they got to throw the football. Do what you do. It isn't broken. Don't fix it. They lost to 2 playoff teams. Let's not get down on the Steelers too quick yet.
You talked about Ben Roethlisberger just getting reps. In the preseason, he only threw 22 passes.
Yep.
In the regular season, he's thrown 71 passes. 35 he's completed to his team. 5 he's completed to the wrong team. And he's thrown as many touchdown passes as Jaws has thrown this season.
How many's that?
That's not any, Jaws.
Okay.
That's
Darn, I was
kind of like
thinking it
0, none, zilch. Still ahead on NFL Primetime, Jeremy Shockey explodes an expletive-laced tirade after a giant drubbing in Seattle. What he said and what will happen next.
We got outplayed and outcoached. Write that one down.
And we talk about how emotional it is for the Saints. Michael Vick in the Dome and Warwick Dunn, a Louisiana native. Someone who spent a lot of time here right after Hurricane Katrina. Got to be an emotional night for him. Their first time on the field.
September 25, and on this day in 1997, history was made in the
Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Last week, the Giants came back on the Eagles. They'd have another chance to come back on Seattle because Seahawks were housing them early. Deion Branch, first appearance with the Seahawks, coming correct with the pass from Matt Hasselbeck. Branch, one of only 3 guys ever with 11 catches in a Super Bowl, former Super Bowl MVP. But, Jaws, why is Hasselbeck still not considered one of the NFL's best QBs?
I have no idea, Stu, but I consider him one of the best I have for 3 years. Will you listen to me?
Yeah, I'll listen. Listen to you. You saw him connect with Nate Burleson.
I like him, too, because he throws the ball longer than 5 yards.
More coming.
So, while Hasselbeck was getting his flow on, Eli struggled. Coach, why did the Giants look so inept?
Well, I'll tell you, for one thing, when they did catch the ball, they fumbled a bit. They're forcing him to throw the ball into tight coverage right now. That means one thing. The guys are not getting home. There's 3 guys here. There's 3 Seattle guys in that area. He throws it right into that area. The receiver doesn't get it. Then they had a couple plays where they caught the football. Well, this here, it's a good play by the free safety. He can't make this throw, and Jaws can tell you that. He's looking at him all the way. That's the thing I see right now.
How about catching it, Coach?
Well, this guy
How about
here,
catching the
they
football?
benched
Give your
him.
quarterback some help.
He's a pretty good football player. How do you bench one of your best football players?
Because he couldn't catch the ball, that's why.
That's a good point.
The Giants did score 4 fourth-quarter touchdowns, but way too little, too late. The 35 points they gave up in the first half, the second most they've ever allowed in the first half. Only time they did it before October 1948, when they gave up 42 to the Chicago Cardinals at Polo Grounds. Jeremy Shockey, shocked, not happy.
We got outplayed and outcoached. Write that one down. They're the coaches. They get paid money. They call the plays. They come up with the plays. You know, whether they come up with them themselves, if they take them from another team, you know, they wouldn't do their plays. Personally, myself, I want to help this team win as much as possible, and it's hard and frustrating when I'm in, you know, half the time blocking, and but what can you do?
Naturally, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because, you know, there's nothing to be gained by pointing the finger, all right? If you're truly a team and you're in it together, that's what you win and lose together, okay? We don't make a point of pointing the finger at anyone. When we lose, I lose. I take the responsibility for the loss. That's my job. Everything else is just, should be, if there is something that needs to be said, my door's always open. Come on in, sit down and talk to me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it.
Kind of sounds like Tiki Barber last year when he criticized Coughlin when the Giants got bounced out of the playoffs, except Tiki didn't use any of George Carlin's 7 words you can't say on TV, and Tiki didn't put the exclamation point, write that down. Coach, what do you think when you see a player go off on a coach like that?
First of all, nobody should talk to anybody 10 minutes after the football game in the heat of battle. You're disturbed. I said it earlier. There's an old saying, sometimes it's better to keep your mouth shut and appear stupid than open it and remove all doubt. And that's what he did. Exactly what he did. Don't do it, son. I tried to do that 50 years ago with George Halas, and he traded me.
Does Shockey think he's the only guy in that football team that wants to win?
Sometimes he probably
or the
does.
only coach that thinks wants to win? Of course they want to win. And I always remember this, because I heard it from a lot of coaches. When you point one finger, 3 point back. As a player, you have to look in the mirror and evaluate your own performance, number one.
Plus, I don't think it's very much fun to be in Tom Coughlin's doghouse. This year, though, Jeremy Shockey, 11 catches, 134 yards, and 1 touchdown. You know, all day, every Monday, we're checking in with the Monday night teams. We call it Teams at the 20s. Just a little check to keep you up to date on what's going on with the teams 20 minutes past every hour. We start now with Rachel Nichols and the New Orleans Saints.
Well, Stu, tonight's game is just the latest step in what's been a very emotional process, rebuilding this dome. Several of the people in charge actually lived here as evacuees, and they've been working around the clock for about 9 months, although there are still some issues. This is the turf they put in, and it's going to be particularly springy for the players tonight because they just haven't had a chance to have enough people walk on it to mat it down. Also, 29 of the Saints players weren't with the team the last time they played in this dome, so they had to be brought for a special practice here on Friday just so they could get used to their own home stadium. Now, there's a larger issue of the controversy over whether this dome should have been rebuilt at all. But the players I spoke to said they have no doubts. As Joe Horn put it, if 3 people came back to New Orleans to rebuild their houses, the Saints have a responsibility to come back and rebuild ours. Stu?
Thanks a lot, Rachel. The fans are outside of the Superdome because in 6.5 minutes, 392 days after Hurricane Katrina ravaged this place, the Superdome will reopen again. We will bring you the opening live right here on NFL Primetime. Come back for that and come back for more highlights from yesterday.
Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Visa. Go on, live life. And remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime. You see the clock The Louisiana Superdome in 3 minutes and 1 second will reopen. And the fans who have borne the brunt of the emotional and physical scars of the storm, Hurricane Katrina, will roll back into the Superdome, ready to see some football and ready to heal again. We'll have the grand opening live for you in just 3 minutes. For now, though, some more football. Jaguars beat down the Steelers. Why not Indy? Byron Leftwich, opening drive. Gives the ball to Maurice Jones-Drew. Coach, is the Colts defense still their Achilles tendon?
Well, they had a lot of guys out of this football game. They really missed Bob Sanders in the secondary. This Jones-Drew is the real deal.
Answer the question, Coach. Answer the question.
Are they the Achilles heel? The Colts defense.
No, the Colts defense is not the Achilles heel of the Baltimore Colts. I did that on purpose.
11 plays, 7.5-minute drive. And the Jags up 7-zip. But, Jaws, how can Leftwich look so good sometimes and then do that some others?
Well, you know, it's, once again, erratic passing, and I think that's what Byron Leftwich is. You know, at this point in his career, he's not going to become the game's most accurate thrower.
They lost this football game on 3 special teams play. The punt return for a touchdown, 2 missed field goals. They would have won this game.
Hey, Coach, the Colts just scored. You said they were going to be shut out. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Terrence Wilkins, first Colt punt return for a touchdown since he did it 5 years ago against the Jets. And Josh Scobie hits the uprights on the field goal attempt. Jack Del Rio needs therapy or a hug or something, because in the first half, the Jaguars just dominated. They owned it, ran twice as many offensive plays, outrushed them 157-10. Held the ball for like 25 minutes, but despite all that, they were tied 7-7. If you dominate Peyton, if you use and abuse Peyton and are only tied with Peyton, you, sir, are in trouble. Second half, Jaws, what happens when Peyton has this kind of time?
Give him time, and that's what you get, Stu. What that referee's doing right there, those 2 hands up in the air, touchdown. The Colts give you explosive offense.
Wait. Hey, now, Coach, would you ever call this for Peyton Manning?
Take a good look at it, because you saw it. You'll never see that again the rest of the year, because that linebacker coming off the corner of that safety will be zeroed in and will put his hand right up between the numbers.
Yeah, they got 6 right there, Coach.
That was Peyton's first rushing touchdown in 4 years. Dwight Freeney putting the pressure on Byron Leftwich. That hurts, and Leftwich is a big dude. Last chance for the Jags. Leftwich picked off by Mike Doss. Colts win this game 21-14. It was 392 days ago that the worst U.S. natural disaster ever ripped through Louisiana and Mississippi, leaving an inconceivable path of destruction. This building behind us, the Superdome, one of the vivid reminders and images of what happened that day. No one could have thought that this building could ever reopen so quickly, but 13 months later, here we are. And here it is, the opening of the Louisiana Superdome. The grand opening right now. Through 13 months of labor, pain, tears, and sorrow, the Superdome reopens. It will be an emotional night. The building that was a haven for thousands in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, but also a place where some of the evacuees died while waiting for a place to go. Their memory is honored. The first people through the doors tonight are the 150 first responders back in August of 2005. There they are. You're looking at them. The EMS officers, the police officers, the firefighters, the men and women who were the first officials to respond right after Hurricane Katrina. They are the first people who will walk back into the Louisiana Superdome and enjoy the game. The NFL, the city of New Orleans, all of us here at ESPN, we salute you. And this is the scene. This is, guys, we've been here for a few days. What does this make you think watching this?
That this is the greatest thing for this city, for the fans, for the organization, and for the National Football League, because they didn't turn their back on this city. They gave them the help that it needed. They gave them the respect that it's going to take to get this city back on its feet.
Stu, this is just an incredible feeling, an incredible sight. You know, we've been here all day talking to the wonderful people in this city, the resilient people of the New Orleans and the Gulf Coast, and this gives every single person hope that the Saints are back, the dome is open, and this city is going to grow once again.
You know, it's interesting because we often hear about a city using a sporting event to right itself, never more than right here. Now, look, the French Quarter and downtown, it's alive and thriving. There's still great food, there's great music, great jazz music, but there's still so many areas of devastation in New Orleans here that these people need and want you to know about.
Well, also, you know, this is a tourism city, and I say to anybody around the country, come back. New Orleans is open and ready to greet you and treat you, because it's a beautiful city, great restaurants, great people. Come on down, we need you.
Inside of the dome right now, Joe Horn, you remember maybe more than any Saint player last year, it affected him. The hurricane, the disaster, the death affected this man in ways that he didn't even realize it would affect him. He dedicated his life last year to playing football and to reconnecting to the fans wherever they got displaced to. Four-time Pro Bowl selection. If you think football is the only thing on his mind here tonight, you have no idea what this means to football and to life here in New Orleans. You know, as one newspaper columnist wrote, he said, quote, even if we can't stop Michael Vick in the end, we're going to kick Katrina's rear end. That's the spirit.
That's right.
That's what these people here in New Orleans are thinking tonight. The game is important, but more important than winning is just the fact that they are here.
Morning, LT.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, thanks. None of these are mine.
Fantasy Ticker, brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade.
Broncos and Patriots. Jake Plummer trying to rebound from a rocky start to the season. So Javon Walker coming off that knee injury. He won't come near his 2004 when he had 12 touchdowns, right, Joss?
That's a great throw right in there by Jake Plummer. Beat the corner and then stuck it in front of the safety. Ooh, Javon Walker brings the explosive plays to the Broncos.
Take another look. Plummer stays in as Richard Seymour just beats down on him. Plummer 15 of 30, 256, 2 touchdowns. Patriots go for it on 4th and 1. Lawrence Moreeeee dropped in the backfield for a loss. Broncos, first team since 1942, the Chicago Cardinals, to not allow a touchdown the first 11 quarters. Coach, didn't you play against that 1942 Cardinals team?
Yeah, I played against Charlie Trippi was a quarterback. Yeah, it was a good football team. We had him on the run a little bit. Here's something that's very interesting. And I think Jaws alluded to it earlier. I'm going to give him credit for saying something intelligent. That the Broncos defense might be the fastest defense in the NFL.
You're finally listening, Coach.
Hey, primetime performance, not Tom Brady, 69 and 17 against everybody else in his career, 1 and 5 against the Broncos. These are the guys. You can log in, text 43776 and vote for your primetime performer.
Hey, Coach, Mark Brunell's on that list.
I know. I know.
All right, buckle up the chin straps. Time for the Miller Lite Square Off. You guys have 5 minutes to watch highlights of only one. Can't sit on the fence. Do you watch highlights of Michael Vick or Reggie Bush? Vick, 6 career 100-yard rushing games. Bush once had 500 yards total offense by himself in a game. Who do you go with?
Age before beauty.
Well, the only reason I'm going to do this, I'm going to make him look a little more intelligent today. I would go with Reggie Bush because he's one of the most electrifying players I've ever seen. I realize he doesn't touch the ball every down, but I think this coach down here, Sean Payton, is going to find more and more ways to get the ball in his hands. And I tell you what, if he touches the ball 33% of the time, watch out because it's going to be fun to watch.
I agree with you. Sean Payton's done a terrific job with Reggie Bush, but also Greg Knapp has done a great job. He is the offense coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons, and he has got Michael Vick moving around, designing plays to get him on the perimeter, on the edge, put in the spread option offense, much like the college offenses that we see, and Michael Vick has the talent to throw the ball, to run the ball, and thanks for making me look intelligent,
and that
Coach.
Last play was not designed by any offensive coordinator. That was designed by Michael Vick.
Electrifying. That's why Michael Vick was my pick.
I'm going to go with the guy who runs the 4.35 40, which is both of them.
Way to go out on a limb.
Square Off is brought to you by Miller Lite. Join the Square Off debate online at espn.com.
Speaking of Michael Vick, the lefty from Virginia Tech. Oh, he got his braids rocking, and he's got that left arm ready to go. It's real simple with the offense. You either hand it to Warwick, run it yourself, or fire it to Algie Crumpler. Ed Warder, teams at 20 minutes after the hour. Ed, what's the latest on the Falcons?
Stuart, Michael Vick is out warming up, and he looked up to some of the fans without a gesture who were taunting him about shutting him down tonight, where you might see a lot more of that pro-option offense. The other component in that is Warwick Dunn, the running back who said this game will be played in a Super Bowl type of atmosphere. Told me he went and took some of his teammates, escorted them down to the 9th Ward so they could see the devastation from Hurricane Katrina. He told me when he comes out tonight, Stuart, there will definitely be images in his mind of the Superdome and all the despair that existed here just 13 months ago. He said, I have to put that out of my mind and be professional about it.
Warwick Dunn emotional for the team he's playing against, his home state team. Reggie Bush emotional for his new team. Wait till you see what Mr. Bush has done in the community.
You are watching NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
It's always a party here with Mardi Gras, but somehow this seems to matter much more. Hey, there's Tony Kornheiser's bus. That's how he rolls to Monday Night Football in the booth for the 2-0 Falcons and 2-0 Saints tonight as the NFL returns to New Orleans. Monday Night Football on ESPN. 2-0 Bears, 2-0 Vikings. Coach, Rex Grossman, 4 touchdown passes last week. See what happened, Coach?
Whoa, bad decision right there. You never do that. He took his eyes off him. He got trying to get rid of the football. Don't make the bad play, Rex. But I tell you what, I love it. Lovie Smith says, hey, we're going to get the ball back for you. You do something with it. They did get the ball back. They created a fumble. The defense did. They recovered it, and they put Grossman on the hot seat, and he responded. And I've looked at film for days.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure, Coach.
Boom, boom. Vikings having issues of their own. Jaws.
What did you see?
Rex got back to being Rex of last week.
I saw his first touchdown pass ever in the 4th quarter. Look at the great route. Stick to the outside. Great separation. Oh, look at that. And Rex lays it right over. There's the control underneath. Over the top. Touchdown. Bears win it. Grossman still hot.
278 yards passing for Rex Grossman. The Bears are 3-0. He was the All-American kid, literally, Heisman Trophy winning All-American, and figuratively, Reggie Bush, a savior for a hard-luck franchise in New Orleans and a Fifth Avenue endorsement's dream. Reggie Bush has been all of that here, and more, and less. Yes, recent allegations that he received improper credit and improper benefits while in college at USC. Now, that has tarnished Reggie Bush in some circles, but doesn't seem to register here in New Orleans. You want to know why? Because he has dedicated his efforts to helping rebuild this city, this community in the wake of a disaster, with his time, with his concern, and with his money. John Barr has more.
Even before his first carry in a Saints uniform, even before he signed his 6-year, $62 million contract, Reggie Bush embarked on a preseason of giving.
How you doing? All right, you good?
Why have you decided to become such a focal point in the recovery effort?
Well, I think because you know, these people, they need something positive. You know, obviously all that they've gone through, I feel like, you know, they just need some type of inspiration, some type of light, you know, in their lives.
And the first day we got here, you know, we got the message that this community needed his help.
Marketing veteran Mike Ornstein is the architect of Bush's endorsement deals with strings attached.
We decided together that, you know, every sponsor that works with us has got to give something back to New Orleans.
So corporations interested in attaching their labels to Bush's million-watt grin must also contribute money to the Katrina relief effort.
This NFL season, for every yard I gain, Diet Pepsi will make a donation to help the people of New Orleans rebuild.
And companies from Pepsi to Subway and Adidas are gladly signing up with Team Bush.
I feel like it would just be a good opportunity, you know, with a guy who's a good role model. I feel like it'd be a good opportunity to you know, help give back, team up and help give back.
In May, Bush and Adidas brought their combined charitable forces to Holy Rosary High School.
This is where it starts. This isn't the end of it. You know, there's plenty more, you know, and I'm looking forward to, you know, helping, you know, more schools and communities.
It was like a miracle. I'll probably get emotional talking about it.
Holy Rosary President Patty Glazer needed $100,000 to keep the school open. Without it, hundreds of students with learning differences would have been forced to scatter to area schools not staffed to deal with their special needs.
It was like trauma on top of trauma and stress on top of stress. And on Monday, I said, okay, I have to raise $100,000 this week. I'm just not sure how that's going to be done. Tuesday night was a parent meeting. They took care of half of it for me. Wednesday afternoon, Reggie took care of the rest of it, and by Wednesday night, I slept.
In June, Bush teamed up with Adidas again, contributing a total of $86,000 to flood-ravaged Tad Gormley Stadium.
You guys need a place to play, you know, a field to play on, and you know, I played high school football, obviously, and that's where it starts.
The 69-year-old stadium has hosted the Beatles and Rolling Stones, but is better known locally as the focal point for high school football. Tony Villegas oversees the athletic fields for the city's Parks Department.
When we returned to the stadium, there were dead fish over the field and all over the parking lot. And I mean, that's how long the water stayed.
But look at the field at Tad Gormley Stadium today. Thanks in part to a donation by Bush, dozens of city schools will once again have a home field. Unlike millions of Americans who donated money to large hurricane relief funds, Bush wanted to be able to see the results of his targeted charitable giving. And today, this field stands as just one example.
For a guy like Reggie to come from outside the city of New Orleans, having no knowledge of anything about the city of New Orleans, and step up right away to the plate and say, hey, I'm going to make sure we have a high school football season, I thought it was tremendous.
Also in June, Bush partnered with GM-owned Hummer to provide a dozen H3s to the state. 2 of them wound up in the Slidell Police Department in what was Bush's 3rd major charitable act before he'd even signed his Saints contract.
Who does that? It's definitely not modern-day athletes. They don't do that. Reggie Bush did it. He does a whole lot with his money, but he does it on his terms.
New Orleans City Council President Oliver Thomas Jr. has never met Bush, but he sees a genuine spirit behind the giving.
A lot of the stars will send their check, and they won't show up. They don't let people touch him. Reggie lets you touch him. And a lot of these kids and people out there, touching him is as important as getting that check from him.
And so there was Bush in early September, teaming up with international relief agency Feed the Children and local charities to hand out food to roughly 800 needy families.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Thanks so much.
No problem.
From the heart.
For Jacqueline Veriste, a single mother of 2 who lost everything in the storm, the donation means her family will have food on the table.
I think it's great, and it's a great gift from God that, you know, he's not letting his talent and his money go to his head. He's giving back to people who have lost a lot.
It feels good, you know, to give back and to be handing up food to these people and, you know, seeing their eyes and their faces light up. Yeah, he got the right idea.
Nobody believes, least of all Bush, that one man can save a city. And the last thing Bush wants is to become the story, to create the impression there's not much more to do here.
They have water, too.
How concerned are you that your image will deflect the attention from where it needs to be?
Well, you know, that's something that I hope it doesn't go that way. You know, I hope more of the attention is on the city of New Orleans and the people and, you know, their needs.
Thanks a lot, John. You know, the part of the city that everybody hears about is thriving. The beignets were delicious at Cafe du Monde. So come and enjoy the French Quarter, but be cognitive of the fact that many of the people of New Orleans who work at the restaurants and hotels you love, many of them are without homes. Areas like Lakeview, Gentilly, and the lower 9th Ward. And interesting, the thing about it, the floodwaters did not discriminate. It wasn't just the poor neighborhoods. It was the poor neighborhoods. It was the area in the marina where you still see boats in the marina stacked on top of each other where the floodwaters carried them that day, you know, back in August of 2005. When you see all this, what did it make you think just going through there today, Jaws and Coach?
I'll tell you what, I hope every athlete, every professional athlete in America saw Reggie Bush. I hope they saw this feature on Reggie Bush, because this is what giving back is all about. This is what professional athletes should do, care for the community. What he's doing is real, gang. This is a class act. I love it. But, you know, as far as the devastation goes, it's not going to be, it's going to be around for a long time. It's not going to go away. This is the beginning. This is not the end.
You know, for 392 days, historians have documented what has happened here in New Orleans. But what I like are the people. They are pioneers. They look to the future. They know what happened. They want to turn it around and make it a positive. I just can't tell you how much I've enjoyed being around the people in this city all day today and hearing their stories and their resilience and looking to the future.
Tough times don't last. Tough people do last.
That is true. A lot of tough people here in New Orleans. In the lower 9th Ward that I mentioned, one of the few completely 100% black-owned areas in the country, we saw a house that had been picked up, carried 2 blocks, and sat on top of a car that had been turned over. You haven't seen it if you've just seen it on TV. You got to come here to see it. Joe Horn has been seeing it for the last 13 months. That's why this game means so much to him. Joe Horn making a point right now in the Superdome, shaking every hand he can find, just saying thanks for coming.
The Champions NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite and approved by the men of the square table. Good call. And in part by GMC. We are professional grade. And NFL.com. Log on and watch all the highlights from every NFL game this season. It's all on NFL.com.
Reggie Bush came into week 3, tied for 3rd in the NFL in receiving, but if you just saw the story on him, his worth is a lot more than just playing football. Reggie Bush getting ready to do work tonight. Speaking of work, yesterday, can the brother get some Brett Favre? Packers, Lions, 399 career touchdown passes coming in. Jaws, he had 340 yards last week, 340 this week. What's up with Brett?
He is stroking it now. He's beginning to look more comfortable with his wide receiving core. And oh, by the way, his offensive line's giving him a little bit of time to throw, Stu.
And talk about celebrating.
I got to stop doing it because I get so tired. You'd think I'd be smarter. Mike, as I got off on the sidelines, he said, great job.
Celebrate all you want.
Quit running around like that because I couldn't even talk to him. I couldn't breathe.
3rd quarter, Packers up. Coach, when is Brett Favre at his best?
When he improvises, when he's out of the pocket, he makes things happen. Yeah, he'll make a mistake now and then. He throws the ball in a tight area, but it's what he's done his whole life. He loves this little screen pass up the middle. Come on, Green, touchdown.
402 career touchdown passes, second only to Dan Marino's 420. Speaking of quarterbacks, Redskins and Texans, Coach, if I told you Mark Brunell would set a record before the game, what would you have said to me?
Well, I'd say I hope he threw it more than 1 yard. Behind the line of scrimmage.
Coach, if you would be listening to me, you would understand that Mark Brunell can still get the job done.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think they did a great job. He did too. But I think that, and what they did designing the passing game for him. And he had a little time to throw. But the best thing about this was they played against the Houston Texans.
Okay, I'll give you that
Dallas.
I'll give you that one.
Mark Brunell sets an NFL record by completing his first 22 passes in 1 game. Now, the record is 24 over a 2-game period. Donovan McNabb has that. But in 1 game, man completed his first 22 passes. And the Redskins beat the Texans 31-15. All right, guys, primetime performer. Jaws, who you got?
Brett Favre. I'm going to start out with this. 0 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, 340 yards, 25 of 36. And I love the way Brett played the game. It looks like he's having fun again.
Coach, what you got?
Terrence Wilkins. How about a guy that only touches the ball 1 time in a football game and changes the whole way the game is played? He took all the air out of Jacksonville and he put it all into his team, the Baltimore Colts.
Hey, I'm going to be a man. I'm going to go with a kicker. I know some of the fellas might hate on me, but John Casey, first guy ever to kick 4 field goals, all of which are 46 yards or more. He beat Tampa half the game. Anybody got a problem with a kicker?
No, that's good. That's good stuff.
Not when you kick him like that.
I didn't think so. But how did you all vote? Texting in your vote on Verizon. Here's what you think. The people agree with Jaws. Brett Favre, 58%. Hey, Coach, Terrence Wilkins, only 8%. Coach, you called a lot of your friends and said vote for Terrence. Right?
Now, let me tell you something. I'm a lot smarter than the people watching the show.
That ain't saying much.
Primetime Performers. Brought to you by Verizon Wireless.
This is what this whole thing is about. We mentioned Ward Dunn took some of his teammates to the lower ninth ward. We asked could we go with them. He said, no, this isn't about anything for TV. This is about my heart. Guys, this is as emotional a night as you will ever see for a football game, Super Bowls included. Hey, it's been fun for us. The fans here, very respectful.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Presentation of Orbit ESPN.
Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory.
1, 2, 3, go!
Come on!
Lincoln Financial Field in the city of brotherly love, a place where they love to beat down visitors, whether it's a football game or arm wrestling. Yo, we got a ginormous quarterback matchup tonight. Donovan McNabb, Brett Favre, a combined 13 Pro Bowls. We got it all covered for you. Monday Night Football, we'll tell it like it is. NFL Primetime, right now. Statement Sunday in full effect. What the Patriots blowout of the Bengals means to the AFC, and our Dub Bears the best team in the NFL. The suspension has been handed down to Albert Haynesworth, but is it enough when the other guy needed 30 stitches to stop the bleeding? And at the quarter pole of the season, who is the bananas, ginormous, best team in the NFL? Jaws and Coach will square off. Yo, helmets on, pads pulled tight, because we're baking down and busting up Week 4 NFL Primetime. It's on.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite and approved by the men of the square table. Good call.
I'm very sorry. I mean, I apologize to Andre. I mean, what I did was disgusting. It was I don't know, it's just something that should never happen. I mean, I'm not a dirty player. I don't play dirty. I mean, I have respect for the game, and what I feel like is I disgrace the game, disgrace my team, and disgrace my last name.
That was Albert Haynesworth yesterday after kicking an opposing player in the head. What's up, NFL Primetime? Stewart, Jaws, Coach Ditka. We will get to tonight's Monday nighter between the Packers and Eagles. We'll get to all the record-breaking action from yesterday, but first, an NFL record for an ugly off-the-field incident. 5 games, that's right. The NFL has suspended Albert Haynesworth 5 games without pay for kicking helmetless Andre Gerard in the head twice yesterday, and the Titans lost to the Cowboys. They call it flagrant, unnecessary roughness. Gerard needed 30 stitches to close the wounds in his head. The 5 games is by far the longest suspension ever for an on-the-field incident. Haynesworth coach Jeff Fisher yesterday promised the team would discipline his player if the league didn't. Today it wasn't necessary. This was, however, Fisher's reaction today.
Unprecedented suspension. But I feel like his actions on the field also were unprecedented. I'm shocked and appalled for this to take place regarding any player, whether there has been, behavior or issues in the past or not. To me, there's no place for this type of conduct on the field.
So 5 games. One old-school NFL retired veteran said it could have been the entire season. He wanted to be the entire season. 5 games, guys. Do you think it was long enough?
Well, I thought it would be 5 games. I really did. I think the commissioner made a big statement, and you got to look at it in light of what's happened in the past. This is the longest suspension for a on-field incident. Let me say this. This young man made a mistake. He regrets it very much. It's too late. Think. Respect the game. Respect your opponents. Play as hard as you can. Nobody will ever question that. but do not go outside the rules in this manner.
Yeah, I agree with you, Coach. Totally unacceptable behavior by Albert Hainsworth. But there's absolutely no question Roger Goodell, the new commissioner of the National Football League, wanted to make a statement. In his tenure as the commissioner, this type of behavior will not be tolerated. It was a very strong message, Stu.
Jaws, if you were the commissioner, 5 games, more or less, what would you do?
You know, it's funny. We spoke about this earlier, and I said 4 games. Coach said 5, so we're pretty close. It's 5.
Chris Mortensen's reporting that Gerard was at Cowboys training facility today. He was lifting weights and is not expected to miss any time. As for Hainsworth, his 5-game suspension will cost him about $38,000 per game in lost wages. And also, Nashville police, they have informed the Cowboys that they are ready to look at criminal charges, to seek criminal charges against Albert Hainsworth should Gerard want it. As for the longest on-the-field suspension before this, the Packers, Charles Martin, for this mugging of Bears quarterback Jim McMahon in November 1986, Martin suspended 2 games for that action. Now, as for the rest of the game, the Cowboys and Titans, the part that actually had football and not a brawl, Terrell Owens, after his crazy week, coming in rather mediocre, 9 catches, 99 yards. Jaws, how do you focus if you've had a crazy week like this guy?
You know, that's the one amazing thing about Terrell Owens. When he crosses that white line and goes on the field, he has incredible focus on the game. You hear these fans, dude, they can't wait till next week already.
You hear them behind us booing T.O. T.O., 5 catches, 88 yards in the game. But, Coach, who is the Cowboys' #1 receiver?
Terry Glenn, and he did it all. I mean,
Terry Glenn?
Terry Glenn was the #1 receiver.
I thought T.O. was the #1 receiver.
Let me tell you something about T.O. The reason he can concentrate on himself in the football game, because that's all he thinks about is himself.
As for Terry Glenn, Drew Bledsoe finding Glenn, 13 yards. Great catch right here.
Great throw.
Why is he going so unnoticed, Terry Glenn?
Well, I think, first of all, he got a good receiver. T.O. is a heck of a football player. No matter what I say about him, he is one heck of a football player. And you must respect him at all times, and that's going to allow Glenn to get over. Plus, Witten is a pretty darn good tight end who creates a lot of problems with the center.
Stu, how about that separation right there? That's route running, my friend.
Pac-Man Jones got schooled on the okey-doke move. Terry, 5 catches, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both T.O. and Terry Glenn, solid days. Each had 5 catches. 2 of Glenn's 5 went for touchdowns. 9 of their combined 10 receptions by Glenn and T.O. went for first downs. Now, that was the nuts and bolts of who won, yet the Cowboys large. As for the inside story, Vince Young, first NFL start, 6'5", 235. Here's why they drafted him. Vince, out of Texas, doing what he did at Texas, winning the national championship, short gain in the play. 3rd quarter, Vince with a radar lock on Ben Troop. His 2nd career touchdown pass. He's only 400 behind Brett Favre right now. Titans down 28-14. So that's why they drafted him. Coach, why were there questions about him?
Well, right here, you watch what he does right here. He throws the ball, and he's wishing the ball is caught by his guy. He throws it into 1, 2, 3, 4 white jerseys. He cannot do that. Listen, I don't care if you're a rookie or not. You can't make those kind of mistakes. Put the ball away when you run with it. You're gonna have to take some lumps. Things are not gonna be good for you, but eventually it's gonna work out. Hey, first of all, let me say this too. This is not a good football team.
Well, thanks for the insight, Coach.
Jaws, what goes through your mind when you are struggling in your first career start?
Well, you know, it is very difficult, Stu, and it's going to take some time for Vince Young to understand the speed of the game and what the Titans' offense is all about. There are going to be some growing pains. There's a lot of maturity left in Vince Young's game, but I think he'll eventually get there, Stu, but it's going to be a long learning curve.
The Cowboys, 45 points, the most points they scored on the road since 1971. As for Vince, 155 yards passing, 2nd touchdown pass, but playing in just his 3rd game, 2 interceptions, a lost fumble, and they got a beat down 45-14. Still to come on NFL Primetime, the Patriots are done, finished, blah, 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 blah. Right, what does their blah to the Bengals say about both teams? And these fans here in Philly, they might be getting ready for a game tonight, but you know they're getting ready for Terrell Owens next week. We're back with all the fans, all the action.